When we hear the word democracy, we often think of freedom, rights, and power in the hands of the people. And, it's true. Democracy is one of the most celebrated systems of governance in the modern world. However, merely labeling a country as a democracy does not guarantee its universal application. The way democracy functions in the West, like in the United States, United Kingdom, or Germany, is often very different from how it works in the rest of the world, especially in developing nations like Nepal, African countries, or parts of Asia. And these differences in practice lead to very different results. The Western model: strong institutions and stable rules. In the West, democracy didn't just arrive overnight. It evolved slowly over centuries. Institutions became strong, systems were tested again and again, and rule of law became the foundation. Even if the leaders change, the system keeps running. That's the beauty of it. Elections are usually fair, media is mostly free, and courts can hold even the most powerful people accountable. There's corruption too, but it's often exposed and punished. More importantly, people trust the system. A citizen knows that if they follow the rules, they have a fair shot at life. That trust builds stability, and stability helps the country grow, economically, socially, and politically. The rest of the world. Same name, different game. Now let's look at many countries in the rest of the world. They also have elections, political parties, parliaments, and constitutions. But something feels off. In many of these countries, democracy is more like a label than a working system. Why? Because the institutions are weak. The courts are slow or corrupt. The media is often controlled. Elections may be rigged or influenced by money and power. And worst of all, politics becomes a power game, not a way to serve the people. In these places, leaders often think short-term. They focus on winning the next election, not solving long-term problems like poverty, education, or infrastructure. As a result, people lose trust in the system. They feel like their vote doesn't matter. This creates frustration, conflict, and sometimes even violence. Why the difference in outcome? So why is democracy successful in the West but struggling in many other parts of the world? There are several reasons. First, history and evolution. Western democracies had hundreds of years to build their systems. They went through revolutions, civil wars, and reforms to get where they are. Others adopted democracy quickly after colonialism or dictatorship without strong foundations. Second, mindset and education. In many developing countries, democracy arrived before democratic thinking. People vote, but they don't always understand the responsibilities that come with it. Politicians promise everything but deliver nothing. Third, corruption and power culture. In the West, being caught in corruption often ends a political career. In many other places, it's part of the game. Power becomes a way to gain wealth, not to serve the people. And finally, external influence and aid. Some governments survive not because they are good, but because they get foreign aid. This reduces accountability to their own people. Let's take a moment to reflect on Nepal. We have democracy on paper. We have elections and a constitution. But the outcome doesn't feel democratic. Political leaders fight for positions, not for progress. The system is often stuck and people are frustrated. Why? Because like many countries, Nepal imported the structure of democracy without building the culture of democracy. Institutions are not yet strong. The people are not empowered with education, health, or proper infrastructure. So, democracy becomes a drama, not a delivery system. Yes, Nepal is in a very sensitive geopolitical position. It's like a small boat sailing between two giant ships, China, that is, Tibet, and India. Add to that the invisible pressure from Western powers, who are often pushing their own agendas through NGOs, grants, aid, and diplomacy. All of them play their games in Nepal using democracy as a tool, not to build the country, but honestly, often to control or influence it. And you're right, industries have been shut down. People are divided by ethnicity, religion, region, and ideology. Provinces added costs, not efficiency. And the multi-party competition has become more about power than progress. It really does feel like the last days of the USSR, where the system looked democratic but was weak, unstable, and close to collapse. In theory, multi-party democracy is beautiful. Different parties represent different voices. Debate happens. People choose. But in practice, especially in Nepal, parties don't work for ideology. They fight for power. They are dividing society, not uniting it. They make short-term deals, not long-term plans. Coalitions break every year. No stability, no accountability. So, people are losing trust. That's dangerous. Alright, let's look at the other side now. Some people argue one party means more control, less chaos. With only one party in charge, long-term planning is actually possible. We could, focus on development, not just on elections all the time. If we look at countries like Singapore, China, and even post-war South Korea, it's clear that a disciplined, visionary single-party system can bring fast growth, national unity, and a strong economy. But let's be honest, Nepal is surrounded by foreign powers. Our industries are basically gone, and our people are divided by race, region, and religion. So, do we really need more changes of government, or do we need more action? A temporary single-party system could, in theory, clean up corruption, rebuild the economy, strengthen national identity, and protect Nepal from external manipulation. But yes, the risk of dictatorship is always there. That's why, if such a system ever happens, it must be guided, accountable, and strictly time-bound. So, what's the best path for Nepal? Here's a simple way to think about it. If Nepal chooses to continue with the current multi-party chaos, the likely outcome will be more division, deeper corruption, and, honestly, a slow but steady national collapse. Political leaders will just keep fighting for power, provinces will keep draining the economy, and ordinary people will grow even more frustrated. This path risks not just economic failure, but also the loss of national unity itself. On the other hand, if Nepal shifts toward a responsible and visionary single-party system, there's a real possibility of achieving national unity, strong development, and long-term survival. A disciplined government could actually focus on solving big problems without getting stuck in endless political bargaining. And finally, if Nepal adopts a hybrid model, something between a controlled democracy and a national unity government, it could create a healthier balance. The people's voices would still matter, but national development would take center stage, not party politics. This model could reduce chaos, encourage stable leadership, and give Nepal a real chance to rebuild its economy and national pride. In the end, the right path is not about labels like democracy or single party, but about finding what truly works for Nepal's survival and future. Alright, here's my honest suggestion. Nepal doesn't need to abandon democracy, but honestly, it needs to pause the circus for a while. The focus should now be national survival, economic rebuilding, and social unity. So yes, people should consider supporting a new system, even a single strong party or a unity government, if it is clean, visionary, and focused on Nepal's long-term future, not just elections. Democracy can return fully once the nation becomes stable and self-reliant. So, while the West and the rest of the world may all call themselves democracies, the outcomes are clearly different. One runs on principles, the other often on personalities. One is about systems, the other about survival. But all hope is not lost. With awareness, education, and a change in mindset, the rest of the world can build its own version of strong, effective, and people-centered democracy. After all, democracy should not just be the right to vote, it should be the right to a better life. What do you think? This is not just a debate. This is about the survival of Nepal. So, here's the real question to you, my viewers. Should Nepal continue with its broken multi-party system? Or is it time to rethink our model and adopt a new system focused on unity, survival, and national growth? Type your thoughts in the comments below. Let's build a mature national conversation, because Nepal's future is not in the hands of politicians, it's in our awareness. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. More powerful ideas coming soon, only on Gyan Yoga 2. The end.